EV1 same. EV2 shows the airlock pressure at 2.1, almost there. EV1 same. EV2 shows the airlock pressure at 2.1, almost there. Okay, 2.0. EV1 same. Press pump manual isolation valve is closed.
Copy. And if you can take the switch on the UIA, depress pump power to off.
Depress pump power is now off.
Oh, it's much better in here. Okay, if you guys are ready, I'm sure Kate and the team down there are ready for you guys to report your initial tether config for egress.
EV1 copy. Coordinate your in, comrade, or affirmative? Copy. All right, Houston, if you're ready, EV1 on my left evening extender. I have my red hook. Closed sliders locked, going to reel 25, which is unlocked. On the reel tether point, I have the green hook, which is unlocked. I have the yellow hook.
Approaching vacuum, Brusnik and Van de Heide checking their tethers and reels on their suits. All of the other equipment on what is called a mini workstation, a tool belt, if you will, attached to their spacesuits. As we approach the start of today's spacewalk, the second in 5 days and the third in this series for upgrades to the International Space Station.
Connected to EV2s to tether path. Both hooks closed, slider locked. My left waist tether and his white anchor hook from reel 27. So you can take it from there. Okay. We'll start in the same direction as Conrad left off. All right, so my reel 27 is my green reel. The green hook is attached to the red reel. The yellow hook is attached to the, green hook is attached to the red reel. That gate is closed. The yellow hook is attached to the green reel. That gate is closed and locked. The red hook is attached to my right D-ring extender. That gate is closed and locked. My right waist tether, small hook, is attached to the right D-ring extender. That gate is closed and locked. And my large hook on that same waist tether is attached to the airlock D-ring extender. That gate is closed and locked.
And Houston, did you catch all that?
Yes, we copied all of that. Can you just confirm on that very last EV2 that the reels are unlocked?
Thank you. I did not say that. Both my red and green reels are unlocked. Thanks.
And that's a good config on everybody. Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, when the crew lock DPDT gets to 0, you can expect an alert tone. And comrade, when the delta P gets less than 0.5, you can go ahead and open and stow the EV hatch.
EV1 copy.
So the next step, as we approach a vacuum in the crew lock, will be the opening of the airlock's hatch after the thermal cover is opened by the crew. This is just prior to the crew placing their suits on internal battery power. Not quite at vacuum yet, but rapidly approaching there. This is Mission Control Houston. If you're just joining us on our spacewalk coverage for the day, Randy Bresnik and Mark Vande Hei are all suited up, ready to exit the crew lock section of the Quest airlock just a few minutes from now to begin the second spacewalk for this duo in just 5 days, coming on the heels of their replacement of a latching end effector hand, if you will, for the Canadarm2 robotic arm that they successfully conducted back on October 5th. Today they'll venture back outside for a planned 6.5-hour spacewalk, the major highlights of which will be the lubrication, the start of the lubrication of that new component, as well as the replacement of a camera group on the Port 1 truss of the International Space Station that has a standard definition camera included in that camera group that has had a pink degraded hue for the past couple of years. All of the preparations overnight have gone extremely well for Bresnik and Vande Hei, two good spacesuits. We'll be standing by for the crew lock section of Quest to go down to vacuum just moments from now, after which the crew will conduct final systems checks before placing their suits on internal battery power to mark the official start of this 204th spacewalk in support of space station assembly and maintenance.
Got the P on the gauge, 0.8.
Copy. We're showing to getting there as well from here.
All right, there's a lot of room behind your feet if you need it. All right, I'll be heading your way. Another 0.2 PSI.
Here in Mission Control, the flight control team belonging to the Orbit 2 team is on console, as they will be throughout the rest of the day during the spacewalk, led by Flight Director Judd Freeling at the bottom of your screen. To his right, Victor Glover, spacecraft communicator, who has been talking to the crew during the final phase of these spacewalk preparations. And to his right, Kate Rubins, veteran of 2 spacewalks herself in August and September of 2016, one of which installed the first international docking adapter on pressurized mating adapter number 2 at the forward end of the U.S. segment of the International Space Station, to which commercial crew vehicles will link up to in the years ahead. She will be the spacewalk ground IV, as it is known, intravehicular crew member, essentially a spacewalk choreographer, keeping the crew honest with all of their procedures and cautionary warnings throughout the time that they're outside of the Quest airlock. We'll be standing by momentarily for the green light to be issued for the opening of the outer hatch on the Quest airlock.
Six on the gauge.
Be almost there.
So I'm going to start sliding your way. Okay. My feet where you need them. Okay. Point, go down with your feet and keep coming back. A little bit higher, now come back again. Come back. Still got room. Get your right foot inboard. Got room behind us still. Say inboard, I mean right foot towards me. Got room backwards. The camera bag is inhibiting you a bit, but you can force your way. Yeah, you're making progress. All right. Need more room. I can still give you about we'll hold right there. Another foot. We'll hold right there. Okay. Ready, you want to see 0.5 on the gauge.
Copy. Go to open and stow.
Open and stow.
And the thermal cover is now opened. The hatch will be open momentarily. And the hatch is open to the crew lock section of Quest as we stand by for the crew to place their suits on internal battery power.
It's open and stowed.
Copy. With that, the emergency MPV is going closed. All right, gentlemen, with that, I'm going to go change hats. I'll catch you on the robotics side of things. We'll see you in about 6 hours with some hot chow. And with that, I'll hand you over to Kate. Have a great day.
Excellent job, Joe. Apollo 2. We're talking to you on the loops for the robotics. I second that.
Thanks, Joe, for your great work. And hey, comrade in Sabo, on your DCM, if you can switch power to BAT, stagger the switch throws, and expect a warning tone.
All right, give you one. You know when you got that done, comrade? Got that done? Power restart and the bite light. Okay. Where's that? Power restart flight light. No missing segments, EV1. No missing segments, EV2.
Okay, check display switch functional.
EV1, display switch is functional. EV2 is...
Sabo on the UIA, switch power EV1 and 2 to off, and check power EV1 and 2 LEDs 4 are off.
Power for EV1 and 2 are off, and all 4 LEDs are off.
Disconnect the SCU from your DCM, install the DCM cover, and stow the SCU in the pouch.
EV1, EV2.
This is Mission Control Houston. Bresnik and Van de Heye have placed their suits on internal battery power, marking the official start of today's spacewalk at 6:56 a.m. Central Time, 7:56 a.m. Eastern Time. So the 204th spacewalk in support of station assembly and maintenance, and the second in the last 5 days, officially underway. Again, the start time 6:56 a.m. Central, 7:56 a.m. Eastern Time.
Press pump, man, ISO valve is closed.
All right, for both of you, temperature control valve to max hot.
EV1 max hot.
Randy Bresnik will be the first out of the hatch to the Quest Airlock's crew lock section.
EV2's max hot.
Great. Both of you can take your water switches to on.
EV1 water on. EV2 water on.
Check DCM blank.
Closed.
Okay, great. And check DCM blank and bite off.
EV1, DCM blank, bite off, DCM cover is closed. EV2.
Temp control valve as you like it.
EV1. EV2.
Check suit P gauge 4.2 to 4.4 and give us your numbers.
EV1, 4.3. EV2, 4.4.
Copy, 4.3 and 4.4. Your visors as required. It's night right now, but we're just coming up on sunrise in a few minutes when you exit the airlock.
EV1 copies. EV2.
All right, excellent work, guys. We are finished with our depress, repress cue card, and Comrade, you are go to egress the airlock. Attach your anchor hook to the aft airlock external D-ring.
EV1 copies.
Randy Bresnik beginning the 4th spacewalk in his career. The first 2 accomplished back in 2009 on the STS-129 mission. Mark Van de Heye beginning the 2nd spacewalk of his career. The International Space Station flying over the South Pacific, soon to enter an orbital sunrise as it passes across the west coast of Chile.
EV1, right hook is on the reel 30, on the aft D-ring, hooks closed, glider locked.
Copy, that's a good config, and you can attach Sabo's anchor hook to the forward external D-ring on the airlock.
On the way. EV2 on the forward anchor point, hooks closed, glider locked. Go for egress. Copy. The camera bag seems to have a tether that is holding in the airlock, and I'm struggling to find it. This is The moment. Interesting. Wow. The end of one of the integral straps got wedged in a crack. It's out now. It's just fine. Coming your way.
And we're going to get treated to a glorious sunrise.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh, that's good timing, huh?
And the glow of an orbital sunrise upon the International Space Station. Van de Hei and Bresnik now both outside of the Quest airlock.
Copy, and you'll take the large, small ret with the bag.
I have a large, small adjustable I took with the bag. We opted out of that option.
Okay, copy.
We'll leave that large, small vet in the airlock.
Mark Van de Hei is right at the hatchway. He will be noticeable by the fact that he has no stripes on his suit. EV2, or extravehicular crew member number 2. Randy Bresnik has the red stripes on his legs. You see it right there as he closes the outer thermal cover hatch.
He's coming.
We are handing over communications between satellites on our tracking and data relay satellite system. We'll regain our downlink television capability from the station momentarily.
Safer handle is up.
Bresnik and Van de Hei are conducting what are called buddy checks, in which they inspect each other's suits and their simplified aid for EVA rescue configuration.
Tabs up. One BRT tab is up. Or WVS LED is on. Looking at your tethers. You see a good config. Okay, looks like a good config. Just heads up, your left waist tether is looped under your BRT. That's probably not a big issue at all.
Yep, so I take it off, it'll back. All right.
And we copy a good config on EV2.
Left to right hand
Actually, that was EV1's config.
EV2, I see
Copy.
3 tabs up. I see good tether config. And come down a little bit. Took good green light.
How about my safer handles? Did you catch that?
They were the first thing. Both handles are down.
Okay, thank you.
So if you want to stow your medium RU bag, you can clear to translate.
I'm heading up to stow my medium RU bag on phase 1 of the truss.
That's affirmative, and we hand it over. Can you just confirm you got the thermal cover closed?
Yep, that was called about 5 minutes ago.
All right, thanks. We'll take a baseline HAP check from both of you guys and any translation adaptation.
EV1's ready to go to work. Half nominal. What's nominal?
EV2's ready to go to work. Glove and hat are nominal. Dry hat.
The HAP is the acronym for Helmet Absorption Pad. This is a device that was installed in all helmets for spacewalkers in the wake of the leakage of water into the helmet of Luca Parmitano during a spacewalk a few years ago. This is to ensure that the helmets stay nice and dry, both suits for Bresnik and Van de Hei operating to perfection so far. Bresnik's first chore will be to move a short distance up to where the high-pressure gas tanks are located around the circumference of the Quest airlock. These are the doghouse-shaped high-pressure gas tanks of oxygen and nitrogen that are used for the depressurization and repressurization of the Quest airlock during spacewalks. There is a handle on one of those gas tanks that is ever so slightly out of a locked configuration. Bresnik will rotate it to a locked configuration. In the meantime, Mark Van de Hei will be looking to remove a worksite interface adapter, as it is called, from the degraded latching end effector that he and Bresnik removed from the Canadarm2 robotic arm during their first spacewalk 5 days ago. The new latching end effector that they installed during that first spacewalk on October 5th will receive this worksite interface adapter for future use.
And Houston, EV1, the high-pressure gas tank handle is locked.
Okay, excellent. And you did not have to move the wire tie?
I've bent it a little more to take up some tension, so it's a little more effective. You want me to, I can tighten it up a little more. Just leave it as is.
And not required if you can get that in the expected config, and we heard you call it locked. Thank you.
All right. EV1's heading back to get the lift extender and the APFR.
That's correct, and that'll be airlock with 11.
EV1.
So just like that, in the first few minutes of today's spacewalk, Bresnik has rotated the airlock's high-pressure gas tank handle on one of those gas tanks into the locked position. Next up for him will be to assist in the setup and installation of an articulating portable foot restraint for the space station's robotic arm that Mark Van de Hei will be using as a work platform during his lubrication of a component called a central ball screw in the newly installed latching end effector that the two spacewalkers installed on the Canadarm2 robotic arm last week.
And Sabo, a reminder to fairly the top of the status bar.
That's in work. Thanks for that, Brooke. UV1 has BRT red on VAPFR and BRT into the width extender.
We see that. Nice work. Next, you'll be translating to lab with 6, and I've got handrails if you need a progressive taxi at all.
I'll keep it calm if I need it. Thanks, Kate.
Comrade, I'm at Space 1. I'm keeping the safety tether fair lead low along phase 6.
All right, thank you.
This view is from Mark Vandehey's helmet camera as he and Randy Bresnik are making their way towards a work site in which they will move a worksite interface adapter, as it is called. Basically, it is a device that maintains a position capability for the crew as they are conducting various tasks at a particular location. They are removing it from the degraded latching end effector that they removed from the station's robotic arm last week and installing it on the new latching end effector that they installed during that first spacewalk.
So much easier making this turn around the tank than it is in the pool.
I sure appreciate that.
And the view from Randy Bresnik's helmet camera.
All right, go ahead, please, Kate.
Sure, your standard avoid contact with the lab slide wire, and then when you get to ESP1 and Mark joins you, we can't have you both imparting loads into ESP.
Copy. Wow, I've never seen the cupola from outside. That's cool.
Mark, you'll be looking to temp stow your medium ORU bag at the port seater cart, zenith and port, one of those square grids.
Copy, thanks, Kate.
And comrade, the clocking you're going to be looking for at lab with 6 there is 7.
Copy 7, thank you.
Oh, it is gorgeous out here.
"19 minutes into today's spacewalk, the first task having been accomplished, Bresnik rotating the handle of the high-pressure gas tank, one of the high-pressure gas tanks on the Quest airlock, into a locked position. That's the right configuration it should be in. The two spacewalkers currently working to set up the work site around the station's robotic arm with an articulating portable foot restraint that will be the work platform, if you will, for Mark Vandehey as he lubricates a central ball screw component in the new latching end effector that he and Bresnik installed back on their first spacewalk just 5 days ago. We're taking social media questions throughout the course of today's spacewalk. One from Chad on Twitter: "Can an astronaut save another untethered astronaut using their own safer or simplified aid for EVA rescue jetpack?" The answer is yes, a highly unlikely scenario, but yes, assuming that an untethered astronaut was not very far away from station structure, the one with an operating jetpack could go over, grab their spacewalking companion and bring them back to the safety of station structure. Michael on Facebook writes, I wonder where the ISS is right now. The International Space Station is currently booking right up the east coast of South America from southwest to northeast along the coast of Argentina at an altitude of 252 statute miles.
On the Fort Cedar card.
You can do that, or the way we talked in the conference is going to install the WIF adapter first on the arm.
I'm going to do that, but I'm going to take it with me at least temp stow close to the arm.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks for the heads up, though.
All right, EV1, the WIF adapter in lab WIF 6, clocking of 7, a black on black, good pull test, twist test.
Excellent. Those are all good. We'll take the rest of the settings, our Bravo 6 on the WIF-X.
Well, UV2 has the APSR. I'm heading over to install the WIF adapter.
That's correct, and it should be around mile marker 8850, but look to your right and you should be able to see the arm.
Okay. Oh, that's looking pretty.
Again, Bresnik and Van de Hei in the early stage of their spacewalk. They're second together in the past 5 days as they are working to install an articulating portable foot restraint on the station's robotic arm and to move a worksite interface adapter from the degraded latching end effector that they removed from the arm last week and to install it onto the new latching end effector. This is the hand of the International Space Station. They're installing it onto the latching end effector that they installed last week so that it can be used in the future on upcoming spacewalks to provide a worksite interface capability for anyone who is mounting that robotic arm to be used as a work platform.
We got black on black. Good pull, good twist.
All right, excellent. Next, comrade, you're going to be going to the nadir side of ESP1 PFCS, and you're looking for the common structural interface.
On the way.
Sabo, you can GCA the arm if you need it all for the WIF adapter install, but it looks like you're there. And you're just going to install the WIF adapter tether point towards the lee opening.
Okay, copy. That's in work. And I've got the tether point towards the lee opening with adapters installed with the pit pin and working on the wire tie.
Okay, if you can give us a pull test also on that WIF adapter, and you can slow down a little, no need to rush here. We're going to keep you nice and steady for the first hour of the EVA.
Copy. So heads up. Have a little bit of adrenaline going on right now.
Absolutely understandable.
Oh, that view is amazing.
Mark Van de Hei with his natural burst of adrenaline as he looks down on Rio de Janeiro from 252 miles up.
All right, CSI operates with the button push very freely, and the actuator retracts.
Excellent, good to hear. And next it'll be ESP1 FSE heater cable. So that runs from aft to nadir of PFCS on the FSE forward side.
Okay, I'm there.
All right, open any TA clamps that you need.
Oh, go for it.
Say again, Kate?
For Comrade, open any TA clamps that you need, and then we'll wait for our go to demate the FSE heater connector.
With the worksite interface adapter having been installed on the new latching end effector at the end of the station's robotic arm, the crew is now in the early stages of working the steps that will enable them to rotate
P5J3.
a pump flow control subassembly, or PFCS, that is currently housed on ESP1, an external stowage platform spare parts depot, which is on the port side of the Destiny laboratory of the International Space Station. It needs to be rotated 90 degrees so that its vent port will be accessible for the venting of ammonia prior to its move from that spare parts platform to the P6 truss on a future spacewalk. The pump flow control subassemblies, several of which are located on the International Space Station, help to circulate ammonia through the external cooling loops of the complex. Again, this component will be rotated 90 degrees from its current configuration to provide accessibility for a vent port that will ultimately vent ammonia out into space prior to its relocation from external stowage platform number 1, which is on the Destiny laboratory, over to the P6 truss of the International Space Station. 30 minutes into today's spacewalk, Bresnik and Van der Heij making quick work of the early tasks. The major activity yet to come, that being the replacement of a failed or degraded camera group on the Port 1 truss of the International Space Station, and the lubrication of one of the components on the newly installed latching end effector at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm.
And Mark, I know you're working with the APFR there, but when you were working on the WIF adapter, if you can just verify for us that the wire ties were tucked down and out of the way for the WIF adapter.
Nice catch. I am working on that now.
Sounds good.
They are tucked down and out of the way.
Alternating views between the helmet cameras of Randy Bresnik. The number on his helmet camera in the lower right-hand corner is 18. Currently, this view, there's Bresnik's view. You were just looking at Mark Van der Heij's helmet camera with the number 20 in the lower right-hand view. They're looking down at the South Atlantic Ocean as they pass just off the east coast of South America, moving from southwest to northeast, soon to cross the west coast of Africa.
Verify that it's going to be clear of the rotational envelope. You can go ahead and ingress the APFR.
You want copies?
And Comrade, you're a little bit ahead too, so if you want to take a few minutes and enjoy the view, you're coming up on actual Africa now. And you can just take a few. We'll get Mark to join up with you.
You would.
I got the APFR installed, clocking of 12, a good pull and twist test, black on black.
Copy 12, good pull twist test, black on black. The rest of your settings are Papa Papa Fox 6, and that's going to be verify only, should be set for you.
Okay, I got 12 Papa Papa Fox 6.
All right, we'll take a glove and a hat check from you, Mark, and then you can translate to the PSCS to meet Comrade.
Okay, my half is dry. My glove's nominal.
Copy. So, Mark, a couple cautions for you to avoid contact with the lab slide wire. And when you join Comrade down there, we can't have simultaneous loads into ESP, so just one of you at a time for translation or you release.
Copy.
So, Mark.
Go ahead and hop in the APFR.
Okay. Copy, Comrade. Sounds good.
Kate Rubens, the ground intravehicular crew member, helping the spacewalkers along with their procedures during the course of today's spacewalk, joined on console by astronaut Victor Glover.
I'll let you know if I get confused.
Rubens, again, a veteran of 2 spacewalks herself with Jeff Williams back in August and September of 2016, helping to keep the spacewalkers on the timeline and through the sequential series of procedures that they're conducting. Next up will be the rotation of this pump flow control subassembly. Each one of these components weighs about 235 pounds. This one that they're rotating 90 degrees into a new orientation is located on a spare parts platform with the acronym of ESP, External Stowage Platform. This is ESP-1 that houses this particular pump flow control subassembly that will be rotated. Again, the purpose of this activity is to enable access to a vent port that will be used to vent ammonia out of the system before it is moved from its current location to the P6 truss on a future spacewalk.
Get ready to head your way. Sounds good.
And Comrade, just a reminder to use the ingress aid for ingress, not the PFCS.
Copy. Houston, we'll try and give you some survey shots from down here since we don't hit this area very often.
Randy Bresnik using a camera to document some of the handiwork that he and Van der Heij are conducting outside of the space station. 36 minutes into today's spacewalk, as the International Space Station is about to cross the west coast of Africa.
Looking good, Sabo. I'm up below you.
Copy. Sure why, but the distance from the cedar rail to the lab seems a lot longer in the pool.
Kind of nice, huh?
It is.
So Sabo, a caution as you're headed out to the end cone to not use the EWIS antennas as a handhold, and you're looking for lab handrail 259.
I was supposed to put down my green hook on 259, okay.
Affirmative. Comrade, great video and photos, and we'll take a glove and a hap check from you when you get a chance.
BV1, gloves, no change, hap dominant.
Excellent. And when you get a chance, you can attach a RET from your mini workstation to the PFCS FSE handrail.
Bresnik completing one of a series of periodic glove inspections and HAP checks. The HAP is the acronym for the helmet absorption pad that would absorb any water that could inadvertently enter their helmets during the course of a spacewalk. So far, they're high and dry as they conduct their high wire act, their second spacewalk here in the past 5 days, 39 minutes into today's spacewalk.
And Sabo, my safety tether is right by the whip extender and whip 6, so you should have no problem coming by.
Copy.
Can't tell yet, Sabo, are you heading aft?
I'm already aft, I'm heading nadir. I can see you. a little farther, Nader. Dang, it's amazing out here.
Yeah, and Sable, you'll be looking for lab end cone handrail 267.
Copy, thanks, Kate. 267. I see my path back forward, aft again. Heading that way up handrail 0207.
That's correct, and as you head into the work site, just check that your safety tether is over EV1 safety tether.
Okay. Thank you. I see your safety tether, I see your EFR, and with data review. Safety tethers are crossing, line over the top.
Excellent, and right above your head should be the CSI. You can locate that, and Comrade's going to give you a go to release the PFCS FSE, and you'll depress the button and rotate that counterclockwise to the release position.
Okay, but when I was checking it out, I had my BRT where you're looking.
The two spacewalkers, 42 minutes into today's spacewalk, preparing to rotate this pump flow control subassembly 90 degrees to a different orientation to provide unfettered access to a vent port that will be used in the future to vent ammonia from the system prior to its movement on a future spacewalk from its location on a spare parts depot on the Destiny Laboratory of the International Space Station up to the P6 truss of the complex. Today's spacewalk scheduled to last some 6.5 hours, the crew running about 48 minutes ahead of the timeline.
I think get your cliff on the APFR. You may want to just slide a little bit further forward. There you go.
Perfect. Thanks for the coaching. Oh my gosh, this is a great spot. Can I get my BRT locked down a little bit tighter? Set.
Hey, I'm ready, and I'm ready on the handles when you are.
Okay, I think, okay. We're ready on the handle.
All right, Mark, that'll be clockwise to the release position, about 140 degrees.
On your go, comrade. Go. There's the capture position. There's the release position.
Okay, I'm moving it away.
It's released of the structure. I'm ready to go back to capture.
Okay. Ready in capture.
All right, it'll be counterclockwise to the capture position.
That's complete.
All right, Bill, I need you to back off a little bit as I rotate. It's a bit longer.
Okay, trying to back off. What am I hooked on here? That would be my BRT. So let me get my BRT off.
Okay.
All right, I think I'm out of your way. Ready to GCA?
Okay. I've got the CSI anyway, so.
Great view from Randy Bresnik's helmet camera. Once again, the crew, Bresnik and Van der Heij outside of the International Space Station. for the second time in 5 days, working in tandem to demate
good pull test. Excellent.
a cable that connects the pump flow control subassembly on ESP1, or the external stowage platform on the Destiny laboratory, to a common structural interface, as it is called. This is a mechanical attachment that enables the spare parts on the stowage platform to be bolted into place. The common structural interface must be detached temporarily for the proper rotation of this pump flow control subassembly component.
A little vertically, and square a little more.
Oh, there you go. That looks like a lot. That looks a lot better.
Houston, we are in lock. The actuator is popped out. Have a good pull test. Locked in.
Excellent work, guys. We'll take a glove and a hap from Sabo, and then he can head to the port seat of Cardigan. And Comrade, you can take the RET off, and as soon as Sabo's cleared the work site, egress the APFR.
AV1.
Kate, I have a dry hap on my left index finger. There's about a 3 millimeter crack, I would call it. Nothing significant. Not sure if you can see that.
Checking.
Otherwise, good.
Okay, we copy the glove check. Thanks for the view, and that's a good config. You're good to continue.
And Keith, why don't you grab a quick picture of Sable while he's here? So I'm not going to see him a whole lot today.
Oh, so you didn't do any pictures of you, Comrade?
No worries.
And as long as you guys have your cameras out, we are coming up on Italy's boot, so take a couple for Paolo.
That's Sicily we're passing over right now? I shouldn't make guesses about geography in public.
Sardinia off to our...
That's Sardinia, and then Sicily's way down there. Okay, I see it now.
Buongiorno, bella Italia.
Sicily just passed. We are almost above Greece. If you look up the cupola.
Up on the cupola. Here.
Up to your left side.
Moving from southwest to northeast at an altitude of 252 statute miles, the spacewalkers and Paolo Nespoli, who's inside the International Space Station, admiring the view from above as the complex crosses Italy near the boot, moving in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator, about to cross over Serbia, Romania, and Ukraine. The pump flow control subassembly has been rotated now, so that task is complete. The crew making quick work so far of some of the initial tasks on today's spacewalk before they move into the heart of today's activities. Next up will be the replacement of this camera group called Camera Group 9 that is located on the Port 1 lower outboard area of the truss.
Oh, there's the cupola.
Hold up right there.
Yeah, that one right there.
Roger up.
Roger's not.
As the crew completes one task and moves on to another, a couple of additional questions here on Twitter that we're receiving in fairly copious amounts today during the spacewalk. Chad on Twitter writing, why does the ISS have to travel at 17,500 miles an hour?
Translation nice and slow and easy for your MEDOX. And excellent job on that task,
Okay,
guys.
I'm there.
The answer is all objects in space travel at that same velocity to maintain the proper orbital velocity so that they don't drop out of orbit. Ryan on Twitter writing, what is the longest time anyone has been on the International Space Station? That would have been Scott Kelly and Mikhail Kornienko during their year-long mission on the orbital outpost that ended in March of 2016.
And Comrade, we see out of the APFR, next you're going to be looking for the FSE heater connector to disconnect from the dummy connector again.
My green hook is back on the red reel.
Copy. Next you're going to be headed back to the port feeder cart.
Yeah, that should work.
Yeah, Houston, just a suggestion, next time we have to do something like this, maybe just leave it out, so leave it in the TA clamps and not put it on the dummy, because the dummy is very difficult to reach. We can get at it from that
Okay, copy.
forward side.
Comrade will take the good checks on that cable, and then you can remate it to FSE J3.
Cool.
Sabo, at the medium ORU bag, you can open that up, and you're going to be looking for the crew lock bag 2. Temp stow that on the port seat of cart.
Okay, this works.
And we just had a short handover, guys, if you had a call in the last 20 seconds.
V1 negative.
V2 negative.
EV1, condition is before. Then 10 still 539 band. Clear to make.
All right, copy. You are go to mate P5 FSE J3.
That's made it.
Excellent. If you can give us a go for FSE heater cable power up, and then visually inspect the restraints, reinstall an ATA clamps, just make sure that that cable's not flopping around anywhere.
V1, you go have a go for power up.
Copy, go.
Houston, we released 2 TA clamps, and it does not reach either one of them. So the cable is in the config, it's to the VN. It's WVS.
And we don't have any WVS right now, but if you can just verify that the cable's not going to be flopping around.
It's as good as it's going to get, Houston. There's
APFR showing that on your BRT.
Okay.
Copy. Leave the WIFX extended in position 6.
That's affirmative, WIF 6. And Sabo and Mark, Joe says he doesn't have WVS on the inside either, so if you guys can, when you get a chance, check the light on your WVS.
Okay, I will, Michael, you'll have to tell me because no one's here to see the light. Oh, yeah, I can do it with my rear. The light is out. I'm going to push the button. And the light is on now. How's the WVS?
We'll get Joe to check for us, and you guys are coming up
Mark,
on sunrise.
Joe, it looks better. We got you.
And Joe, do you have EV1s?
Not yet, comrade.
Hi, Kate, before I leave the port-seated car, I've got the U bag with the camera, or the camera, on my BRT and read it. I've left behind the crew lock bag too. I'm heading over to the arm.
Excellent. That's all good, and you're going to perform your safety tether swap to the arm next.
Copy. Right, EV1 has redded and BRT to the APFR. It's in Papa Papa Hotel 2. I'll release it from the WIF extender.
Excellent, and you'll be taking that to airlock with 11.
And we have good video on both crew members.
Excellent.
Thanks, Joe.
EV1, head back to lab. Okay, back to
Copy.
airlock.
And Pablo, if you're available, I'm ready for the GCA to the APFR ingress position. Actually, stand by for that, Paulo. I'm going to tether swap to the arm first.
Copy that, Sabo. We'll be standing by.
Thank you.
And Houston's DB1, this forward No. 2 tank, nitrogen tank on the forward side, its handle was off by about 15, 20 degrees from lock as well. It's been put back in the lock position.
Thanks, Comrade. And can you confirm you did take them to the lock position?
Lock position, affirmative.
Copy. Thanks very much. We should be getting WVS back in a second here.
Okay, Kate, my tether swap to the arm is complete. My green reel is on, the small hook is at mile marker 8910. That hook is closed and locked. The reel is unlocked. The yellow hook is on the arm. That yellow hook is closed and locked. The red reel is unlocked. And the red hook is still on my right D-ring extender. That hook is closed and locked.
Copy all. That is a good config, and we copy 8910 for your green hook. You can GCA the arm for the APFR ingress position.
Copy. DB1, APFR installed in width 11 on the airlock. Blocking of 11. Have a good pull test. Have a good twist test, and we're black on black. I'm headed to the airlock to get the large OU bag.
Those all sound good. And if you can confirm which airlock gas tank it was that you put the handle in the lock position for us.
Forward mater nitrogen.
Copy all. Thanks very much. So great checks on the APFR, and next is the CP9 bag from the airlock.
Hey, Tom, are you okay for me taking the comm for a GCA?
You do. And Houston, if you've got WVS.
This is Mission Control Houston, 1 hour, 9 minutes into today's spacewalk. Randy Bresnik in the 4th spacewalk of his career. Mark Vande Hei in the 2nd spacewalk of his career. The two spacewalkers venturing outside the Quest airlock for the second time in 5 days at 6:56 a.m. Central Time this morning. A planned 6.5-hour spacewalk, and they're about to get on with one of the two major tasks of the day, that being the replacement of what is called Camera Group 9 on the lower outboard area of the Port 1 truss of the station. The standard definition camera on camera port 9 is failing. The camera view has had a pink hue for the past couple of years. So the entire assembly will be removed and replaced with a brand new camera group. The HD or high definition camera that is part of that assembly has been working just fine. It will be removed and temporarily stowed, then reinstalled into the new camera group once that apparatus is installed. This task should take the better part of the next hour and a half or so.
Mark, the arm's coming in motion, station later.
Copy. Good for motion. Good motion.
You're seeing the comparable helmet camera views, or you were before We lost the signal there for just a second. Randy Bresnik's helmet camera, Mark Vande Heij's helmet camera, represented by the numbers 18 and 20 respectively, providing the bird's eye view of the work being conducted by the spacewalkers outside of the International Space Station.
1 meter to go.
In the first hour of the spacewalk, the two crew members completed some of the more mundane tasks, if you will, the locking of a handle on one of the high-pressure gas tanks that are housed on the circumference of the Quest airlock, the installation of a worksite interface adapter on the newly installed latching end effector at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm that Bresnik and Vande Heij replaced during their first spacewalk last week, and the rotation of 90 degrees to a different orientation of one of the pump flow control subassemblies, an apparatus that controls the flow of ammonia through the external cooling loops on the station. This particular pump flow control subassembly, located on an external stowage spare parts platform on the Destiny laboratory of the International Space Station, was rotated 90 degrees by Bresnik to enable access to a vent port that will be used to vent ammonia out of that system prior to its relocation from the spare parts platform to the P6 truss of the International Space Station on a future spacewalk.
Is that motion, Mark?
Motion.
Those are the numbers you gave us. You need more?
Nope, that's good. Let's call that GCA complete.
Copy, GCA complete. We're putting on brakes.
Let me know. I'll wait for a go before I ingress the APFR.
Brakes are on. You have a go for APFR ingress.
Copy, thanks. That's in work.
The replacement of this camera group on the Port 1 lower outboard area of the truss of the station is the first of two such camera group replacements. The next one will come next week during the third spacewalk of the mission, that one to be conducted by Bresnik and Joe Acaba. Camera port 13 will be replaced with a new assembly. Its standard definition camera has acquired a yellow hue. It's dubbed Old Yeller by the flight controllers here in Houston. So it will be replaced with another camera group during the third spacewalk on October 18th. Today, it is camera port 9 that is being replaced, so that the standard definition camera that has been offering a pink hue for the past couple of years will have a brand new camera associated with it, and an accompanying high definition camera that was installed during a spacewalk in September of 2016 by Kate Rubens and Jeff Williams. Rubens acting in the role of a ground intravehicular choreographer or crew member, the spacewalk communicator to Bresnik and Vande Heij throughout the course of today's excursion.
I am clear of the truss. Ingress to APFR. There's no tethers from the arm back to the... double check this ingress first.
TV1, both handles are down. The safer.
Copy, comrade.
I'm in the arm, ready for the motion. We have a go for the truss backlash.
Okay, copy, Sabo. We're going to go ahead and we're going to back off to publish. Then we're going to pop in joint OCAS, but we'll let you know before we start that. And just for your essay, we're going to be going station forward and a little bit nadir.
Copy, thanks for the heads up.
Thermal cover closed, TV1.
Copy, comrade. We'll take a glove and a hap check from you when you get a chance. And one more quick question about the airlock handle. Sorry for this, but is it the forward or aft handle on that airlock gas tank?
Arms coming in motion.
Copy.
Joe Acaba working in tandem inside the International Space Station with Paolo Nespoli of the European Space Agency, operating the station's robotic arm. Mark Vande Hei has planted his feet into an articulating portable foot restraint that was attached to the arm a short time ago. That will serve as his work platform. Vande Hei, in essence, operating like a telephone repairman at the end of a cherry picker to work with Bresnik for the removal and replacement of this camera group on the port one truss of the station. And later, Vande Hei will continue at the end of the arm as he greases the center or central ball screw component in the latching end effector at the end of the station's robotic arm. That's the new latching end effector that was installed by Bresnik and Vande Hei to replace a degraded latching end effector, a hand, if you will, that grapples and grasps onto vehicles and objects in orbit. The degraded latching end effector is now housed on a portable attachment device on the mobile base system of the International Space Station. The new latching end effector will be lubricated in part today by Vande Hei, and additional components will be lubricated using Braycoat lubricant grease by Joe Acaba on the third spacewalk next week.
Go ahead and plug in the joint OCAS. We'll let you know before we start motion.
Copy, thanks.
And in fact, one of the questions we received from Justice from Twitter on our social media question barrage that we're getting here indicates what kind of lubricant can you use in the vacuum of space. It is Braycoat lubricant that is applied from a grease gun onto a special tool to reach the nooks and crannies inside the latching end effector on the station's robotic arm. Another question on Twitter from Sean, why are the cameras so low resolution and glitchy? Is it affected by solar flares or solar winds? In fact, the cameras on the truss of the International Space Station, be they standard definition or high definition, are actually of outstanding quality. It's just that two of the particular cameras in question, the one being replaced today that has had a pink hue, had a failure of a color wheel a couple of years ago, and the next in the series to be replaced by Joe Acaba and Randy Bresnik during next week's spacewalk that has a yellow hue, a very similar type of failure. And until those cameras are returned to Earth for analysis, it's very difficult to tell specifically what may have caused their degradation.
The HD camera, maintain a 3-inch keep-out zone from the quartz apertures. Your caution on the HD camera is to avoid contact with the quartz apertures and silver tape.
And Sabo, we're ready to start this joint OCAS, and again, our clearance views are terrible, so if you see anything from your perspective, just let us know.
Okay, I don't have anything behind me, but I certainly can see the truss very well.
Okay, copy. It's only 2.5 minutes, and if you're ready, here comes the arm in motion.
Ready for motion. Thanks for that warning.
Joe Acaba using the station's robotic arm to nudge Mark Vande Hei into the proper position where he will work along with Randy Bresnik for the removal of this camera port near the port one lower outboard area of the truss of the station. The station currently flying just off the east coast of New Guinea at an altitude of 252 statute miles.
How you doing, comrade?
I'm under the MC, coming your way.
Okay, great.
And comrade, for you, a reminder for green hook on the port seat of cart handrail.
Oh, thank you.
1 hour, 22 minutes into today's spacewalk. Randy Bresnik and Mark Vande Hei positioning themselves along the P1 truss of the International Space Station, preparing for the removal.
Back into manual mode, and we're going to go ahead and do the GCA, and we have published that we'll take you to, and if you want to stop us beforehand, you can do that.
Copy, let me know when you're ready for it.
Copy, we'll let you know, and it's going to be primarily a station aft.
Copy.
Joe Acaba is fine-tuning the position of the station's robotic arm, upon which Mark Vande Hei has planted his feet in a portable foot restraint. That will be his work site for the bulk of the remainder of today's spacewalk. Working in concert with Randy Bresnik, they soon will be starting out first removing an HD camera on this camera port 9, as it is called. It will be temporarily stowed and reinstalled into the new camera group that will be installed in its place a short time from now.
It is square to the camera.
That actually is already complete. I am not certain about the lens hook being square yet, but it is in the stowed position.
All right, excellent. Let us know when you get eyeballs on it, and then when you're done with your GCA, you'll be getting the pan tilt mechanism.
Pan tilt mechanism will go to lock when I get there, and then disconnect the one electrical connection from the light that I see, and then I disconnect the PTU cable from the HD camera, correct?
That is all correct, but we'll probably have you hold on the light disconnect. We're waiting for a thermal cool down. So you're good for pan tilt mechanism, and we'll stop you there and give you a go for that light disconnect.
Okay, great work, thanks.
Okay, Mark, we're ready to take you.
Kate Rubins, the spacewalk communicator to Bresnik and Vande Hei during today's excursion. She is in familiar territory here, having installed this high-definition camera on camera group 9 back in September of 2016 during a spacewalk she conducted with Jeff Williams during Expedition 48. Again, the first order of business here will be to demate a pan and tilt unit cable from the high-definition camera that's part of this camera assembly on the lower outboard area of the P1 truss of the station, the Port 1 truss. That HD camera is operating just fine. It will be temporarily stowed and reinstalled into the new camera group once it replaces the degraded camera assembly that will be removed and brought back inside the station.
Okay, Mark, how those numbers are? How's that position look for you?
Let me double check it, and let's not call this GCA complete just yet.
Okay, we're standing by.
let's call that GCA complete.
We saw you leaning forward, so you're good with that position?
You know what? Let's tweak this a little bit. 15 centimeters station starboard.
Okay, copy. Station starboard, 15 centimeters. Arms in motion.
Motion.
Mark Vande Hey's helmet camera providing a good view of this camera assembly. It's called CP9. That refers to the location of various such assemblies on the truss of the International Space Station. This particular assembly housed on the Port 1 lower outboard area of the truss.
Ask for and we'll call that GCA complete.
Copy. GCA complete.
All right, Kate. Conrad, you got anything?
Nope, I'm still in the bag in a deploy position with a lid nadir. I'm sorry, lid zenith.
Copy. And,
Excellent.
Kate,
And you're looking for handrail 3679 and 3688.
that hood on the HD camera is square. Ready to lock the pan tilt mechanism.
Copy. Hood is square. You're go to lock the pan tilt mechanism. This is best effort only.
Copy. That's not going to happen. Oh, wait, actually, I just took a little bit. Let me get it back.
We are passing between satellite coverage on our tracking and data relay satellite system. We will regain our downlink television capability just a short time from now. The International Space Station flying in darkness over the South Pacific to the east of the continent of Australia, about to begin a swing that will take it just to the north of New Zealand. We'll move into an orbital sunrise a short time from now. One of the questions we've received on Twitter this morning, and we thank you for all of these questions. They're outstanding and very insightful. Katie on Twitter asks, how long is the ISS in light and darkness for each orbit of the Earth? That would be 45 minutes of daylight and darkness through each 90-minute orbit of the Earth. Gordon on Facebook asks, has an EVA or a spacewalk ever been cut short because of approaching space debris? The answer, no, not because of space debris. We do track all of that debris through our topo officer, as they are called. That is the trajectory operations officer, who is the ballistics officer who tracks each orbit of the International Space Station, as well as many other objects that are orbiting the Earth in concert with the U.S. Space Command in Colorado Springs. We'll be back with our communications with the station momentarily. The spacewalk proceeding in grand fashion, an hour and 31 minutes into the spacewalk, scheduled for 6.5 hours. The crew setting up for the removal of a failing camera group on the Port 1 lower outboard area of the truss of the International Space Station. The International Space Station now passing just to the east of Auckland, New Zealand, on a pass that will take it across the South Pacific and then back over the west coast of South America a short time from now. Randy Bresnik and Mark Vande Hei, 1 hour 34 minutes into today's spacewalk, moving very smoothly through all of their tasks, preparing for the removal of a failed standard definition camera from a camera port that is located on the Port 1 Truss lower outboard area of the International Space Station.
On the cool down clock for the light. If you want to start working on the TA clamp, you can open the TA clamp on the HD camera.
Okay, I'll put that in work. Thanks. The clamp on HD camera is open.
Copy, open.
The crew is in the process of the initial steps of removing a high-definition camera from this camera assembly. This HD camera has been operating just fine. It will be temporarily stowed and reinstalled on the new camera assembly once it is locked in place on the Port 1 truss.
And Mark, feel free to GCA if you need any better access in this area.
And let's say Paulo and Joe, are you ready for a GCA?
Mark, we can. What are you looking for?
About 15 centimeter station nadir.
Okay, we copy 15 centimeter station nadir. Stand by.
Thanks for that reminder, Kate.
Sure, you guys are a couple minutes till sunrise.
Okay, Mark, the arms coming in motion, station nadir.
Copy. Start GCA.
Just keep an eye on your ingress 8.
Roger. Away.
A good view of this camera assembly from the helmet camera of Mark Vande Hei, EV2, or extravehicular crew member number 2, his second spacewalk in 5 days.
To go.
You did 10.
Okay, that's what you asked for. How you like it?
I think that's good enough. Thank you. Let's stop GCA complete.
Okay, copy GCA complete.
There we go. Okay, that disconnection happened. So I've got the electrical connection to the light removed. No FOD, no vent pins in the back end. Checking for the, using my mirror for the pin end.
And Kate, EV1. Do I have to go to remove the shower cap, or do I wait?
Checking.
It was convenient timing for the sunlight, just when I needed it. So, no vent pins, no FOD. Good EMI band in the jacking connect part of the connection.
Excellent. We copy good checks on the light J1 and the cable. Next is demating the PTU cable, and so that's the PTU cable P4 demating from the HD camera J1, which is the connector closer to you.
Okay, I see that. That makes sense.
The crew in the process of removing a pan and tilt unit cable from the high definition camera that is part of this camera assembly on the Port 1 truss.
Stand by on that shower cap to preserve the thermal.
Great reflection of Mark Vande Hei as you're looking over his shoulder from his helmet camera view on the camera Port 9 camera group. This will be replaced with a brand new camera group, replacing a failed camera that has provided a pink hue to views from this particular location on the truss of the station for the past couple of years.
No vent pin. No FOD, good EMI band.
Excellent, great checks. You can temp stow the PTU cable P4 in a location out of the direct sunlight.
Okay. Somebody's coming up at my back, I think.
Yeah, and folks in the pool have just tucked that PTU cable kind of behind the light.
Okay, that makes sense. Problem if that cable makes contact with the paint?
And the cable that's in your hands is actually going to stay with the HD camera. It's the other cable that gets tucked out.
Thank you. It's got enough memory in it. Work.
Excellent, great job.
Okay. Step, I believe, is to put get the HD camera into the medium ORU bag.
Yep, so next check your ingress aid, and then you can GCA the arm to the CP9 HDC position.
Okay, Joe and Paulo. The ingress aid is clear. Ready for you to GCA me to publish.
Hey, Mark, we copy that, and this is a three-part maneuver, so we're going to give you some positive Y. We'll yaw you around and then give you some station aft, and we'll call those out as we do them.
Randy Bresnik on the left, Mark Vande Hei on the right, his feet planted in a portable foot restraint at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm, serving as a work platform for him today.
Okay, thanks.
1 hour, 43 minutes into the spacewalk. High-definition camera has been removed from this camera group on the Port 1 truss of the station. The first step on the road to the replacement of this camera group with a brand new standard definition camera. The HD camera will be reinstalled in this new camera group later in the spacewalk today.
And stop motion there, guys. Stop the GCA for just a moment. Kate, As I moved out of the sunlight, I noticed that my shadow was all that was protecting that cable that's on the light. So I'm going to have to move back to where I was to fix that cable if that's necessary.
Checking.
Did you reach it from the B position?
From the current position, no.
From wherever you're GCAing to?
No.
Okay.
And Mark, we're good with the config that you're in right now. You can keep going with the GCA.
Okay. Back to GCA, Joe and Paulo.
Copy. We're going to continue with the station starboard, and then we're going to start putting in your body yaw right.
Copy. Motion.
Mark the yaws in.
Copy. Motion.
Copy. Good motion.
The amazing sunrise. Sorry, GCA is continuing.
The view over the southeast Pacific from Mark Vande Hey's helmet camera. The International Space Station moving from southwest to northeast, soon to cross the west coast of South America, just north of Santiago, Chile.
So we've got your yaw in. We're going to give you some station aft, if you like that.
I like it.
There's a motion.
Motion.
Copy. Good motion. $50 to go.
Continue.
That's Sergey and Sasha have a good view.
25 to go. It's a 15 more station aft.
Copy.
Once again, we're handing over between satellite coverage on the tracking and data relay satellite system. 1 hour, 48 minutes into today's spacewalk. The crew continuing to make excellent progress on the day's tasks. They are in the process, in the early stages of removing and replacing a camera assembly on the port 1 truss of the station that has experienced a failed standard definition camera that has been plagued with pink hue views for the past couple of years. This camera being replaced. A high definition camera that is part of this camera group was removed a short time ago. It has been temporarily stowed and will be reinstalled in the replacement unit a bit later today.
Arm is in motion.
Mark Van de Heij's helmet cam review once again.
Haven't seen any motion yet. Okay, good motion.
Copy, good motion.
Motion.
Copy, stopping motion.
Complete.
Copy, GCA complete.
All right, Mark, you'll...
If I understand correctly, I'm going to go for it.
Sorry, I was just saying you'll put the round scoop onto the HD camera handle away from the lens, biased towards the TA clamp, and you leave that adjustable in the red installed. Hey, Comrade, we don't have WVS from you right now. If you can check your green light for us, that'd be awesome.
On the way. Green light is on for UV1.
Okay, copy, Comrade. Can you power cycle your WVS, turn it off and back on again?
I can.
Paulo and Joe, I hate to say this, but I'm going to need a GCA station Zenith.
That's no problem. We'll get back in mode and we'll take you to station Zenith.
Zenith 15, make that 20 centimeters.
Copy, 20, station Zenith.
Houston, UV1. Stand by.
We're with you.
Arms in motion.
Good motion.
Copy, good motion.
And stop motion.
Motion stop.
Complete.
At the bottom of your screen, Mark Van de Heij, who is planted in a portable foot restraint at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm. Right above him, Randy Bresnik, as the two work together for the removal and replacement of the failed camera assembly on camera group 9 on the P1 truss of the International Space Station.
Okay, just to double check with you, I'm going to put the lever on this HD camera and then put the camera in the MORU bag.
Affirmative. First, you can check the PGTs on the outside of the medium ORU bag, and then lift that camera cam lever, slide it nadir, and then stow it in your medium ORU bag.
Okay, that's in work. The PGT is already outside the bag.
Comrade, for you, if you can minimize loads in the VSSA stanchion, you can take that round scoop and install it on the ATVCG, if you'd like, on the camera base handle pointing forward nadir.
UV1.
Okay, the HD camera is in the medium RU bag.
Nice work with the bag. Next, you can GCA the arm to the CP9 ETVCG R&R position. And that's going to have the bolts at the nadir end of your work envelope.
Copy. And Apollo, Bill, ready for GCA to be pushed.
Okay, just to make sure we're all on the same page, this is to the CP9 ETVCG R&R position. Is that correct, Kate?
Affirmative.
Okay, copy that. We'll get back in mode and we will GCA to a published, and it's primarily going to be taking you station Zenith.
That makes sense.
Joe Acaba operating the station's robotic arm at the moment, fine-tuning Mark Vandehey's position. This great view of Vandehey at the end of the arm, right above him in the red stripes, Randy Bresnik, as Vandehey is now being maneuvered ever so slightly by Acaba into the final position for the removal of this failed camera group assembly.
Towards you, comrade.
I'm blind to you. I'll be here too.
Motion. And stop motion temporarily. Comrade, I'm coming right up into...
Motion is stopped.
Do you want to install the seat then?
Actually, sure. Well, I was expecting to do it, but it looks like you're ready to go for it.
My arm off the tension off the red.
All that GCA complete?
Negative. Have a pause. I want to make sure comrade's clear. He did a great job of getting really close to me.
Okay, copy. We're standing by.
Yeah, call it temporarily GCA complete. I just want to coordinate with comrade. Comrade, you did a good job of getting really close to me. I'm not so sure I need to get as high up in the work envelope as I expected. So, what's the best place for you?
I think goes your plan because I will not want to be on the stanchion like I just was.
Okay. All right, back to Joe and Paulo. Let's continue that GCA.
Okay, copy.
Comrade, you're clear in my head, okay? Clear.
Yeah, we don't have a good clearance view, and it looks like you might be closer than the 10 or so centimeters we have to give you.
Yeah, we got the, I have it covered between me and the stanchion. Comrade's got the clearance covered because of my head.
Okay, we like that better with Comrade's position. With that, we're going to take you station Zenith.
Go.
Sable, that's published. You want more?
Do I want more? Comrade, it's really all about whether or not I can reach you. I think we can pull this off.
Okay. I need to, that rope's pulling too much tension on the bag. I must use this large, small.
I have a lot more. So we're... Okay, actually, so give me another 15 centimeters, station Zenith.
15 station Zenith coming in. That's what you asked for, Sabo. You want more?
That's great. Be complete.
Copy. GCA complete.
All right, Sabo, install the scoop, handle pointing forward nadir.
The view from Randy Bresnik's helmet camera as the International Space Station flies 252 miles above northern Argentina, moving from southwest to northeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. In view in the lower left-hand side of your screen from time to time is the now familiar countenance of the pistol grip tool. Basically, this is what is used to unbolt and bolt a number of bolts for various components on the station that are removed and reinstalled. In this case, the view now from Mark Vande Hey's helmet camera showing him preparing to use this pistol grip tool to begin to unbolt the various bolts that are holding this camera group in place on the lower outboard section of the Port 1 truss.
Set.
Excellent, good settings, and it'll be secondary bolts, approximately 13 turns. Bolts will spring out and free spin.
Copy. You're doing the forward bolt first.
Copy, forward bolt.
That was 13 turns and bolt popped up. Checking. The forward secondary bolt is released.
Excellent, same settings, Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2, and 13 turns on the aft bolt.
Okay, that's
And this view from Randy Bresnik's helmet camera as he watches the handiwork of his spacewalking partner, Mark Vande Hey. We've just passed the 2-hour mark into today's spacewalk. Everything proceeding well ahead of the timeline.
aft bolt is released.
Copy, and how many turns on that one?
That was also 13 turns.
All right, excellent. Next settings are Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2 again, and you're looking for 31 turns on the primary bolt. The bolt's going to free spin.
Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2, looking for 31 turns.
Good readback. And comrade, we're over South America. We're over Brazil right now.
Beautiful. Easy to pick out the Amazon or the Orinoco glistening here in the sunlight. Thank you.
Okay, Kate, that was 31 turns.
Copy, 31 turns. You can send that PGT bag back to the medium ORU.
Okay, I'm going to unlock the RET.
And first you'll pull out the failed ETVCG before unlocking the RET, and that'll keep the side loads off of it.
Okay.
Excellent work. You can transfer that failed to Comrade.
You can unlock the RET.
And 2 hours and 5 minutes into the spacewalk, the failed camera group has been removed from its location on the P1 truss. It will be stowed in a crew lock bag and returned to the airlock of the International Space Station. The new camera group will subsequently be installed, and the high-definition camera that was on the failed unit will be reinstalled on the new unit to provide what is hoped will be full functionality for that camera group a short time from now.
The blind mate connector in the stanchion, the back, and no FOD.
Copy, no FOD, and Comrade, when you get that failed ETVCG stowed, then you'll go to remove the shower cap and tend that back to the bag and hand the spare to Mark for inspection of blind mate.
Roger that. And the RETs are just insufficient for your lockabout for handling the mass of either one of these. You got the bag with the large, small, and even though it's locked, that RET extended. Same thing with the failed here. I'm going to put an adjustable on it to keep it close.
Copy, good plan.
Again, the crew is in the process of stowing that failed camera unit, which soon will be replaced with a new camera unit on the Port 1 truss of the station. Continuing to receive social media questions on a variety of platforms this morning. Jace on Twitter asks, what has been the longest duration for an ISS repair? Well, repair tasks and maintenance tasks are often blended together during the course of a spacewalk. We can tell you that the longest spacewalk in history by anybody occurred on March 11th, 2001 by Jim Voss and Susan Helms, who were part of the Expedition 2 crew on board the station. This was during a shuttle assembly mission, STS-102, in which they configured a series of cables for one of the pressurized mating adapters and installed a cradle assembly for the Destiny laboratory that has resided on the station for a number of years now. That was followed up. That was an 8-hour, 56-minute spacewalk. Not far behind was an 8-hour, 29-minute spacewalk conducted of May of 1992 on the maiden flight of Endeavour on the STS-49 mission, the only three-person spacewalk in history. Pierre Thuot, Rick Heeb, and Tom Akers manually capturing the wayward Intelsat satellite.
So on the new ECG, the blind mate connector, open pins, no FOD.
Copy, and we copied your checks on the receptacle earlier, so you can install the ETVCG in the stanchion.
Copy.
Mark Vande Heijn now installing the new camera
Comrade,
assembly.
failed. You can
by sliding it along 2 guide pins into its installation position. All this work continuing to go very smoothly.
I'm going to hold off till Staple gets the bolt going so there's enough pulling tension on that bit.
Great call.
All right, Kate, I'm ready for the center jacking bolt settings.
No problem. And just a reminder here before we get going on these are the special bolts. So we are going to not have you release the PGT trigger until we hit the correct number of turns. If you do happen to release a trigger, just report the running torque and turns before we restart. And we'll go through in this back and forth method here with reporting turns and max running torque.
Copy.
And just one final note on this, if you hit the low torque message, then don't cycle the PGT collar. Report to us turns and torque, and we'll give you further action.
Copy.
So primary bolt settings are Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Primary bolt, 23 turns only. Report turns and max running torque.
23 turns and max running torque coming up. Clockwise, Bravo 1, clockwise 2, correct?
Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Copy, 23 turns.
This is the first of 3 such bolts that will firmly attach the new camera group to the Port 1 truss stanchion. A primary bolt and 2 secondary bolts, one forward, one aft. Once this has been completed, the crew then will reinstall the high-definition camera onto this assembly. It'll be interesting to see once the whole system is activated what the new view from this location looks like.
That was 22.44 turns as actual torque, 2.6.
Copy. Checking for your next torque settings.
Well, the pistol grip tool continues to be used by Van de Heide to bolt the new camera group in place. A couple of additional social media questions. Tiffany on Facebook, on behalf of her son Bodie, wants to know how the astronauts are able to have snacks while out on a spacewalk. Basically, they can't. No food. They do have drink bags that they can sip liquids while they're out there for the duration of a spacewalk, but no food. Also, Chad on Twitter asks, is the public affairs console in Mission Control fitted with a teleprompter? The answer is no, no teleprompter. What you're hearing is coming off the top of my head.
All right, Kate, just to make sure I got this straight, it was Alpha what again?
Alpha 3, clockwise 2.
Alpha 3, clockwise 2. One more time with everything else too. The turn counts, etc.
Checking.
Is it to torque? Expected turns?
Checking. Okay, Sable, you're going to drive to torque, and we're expecting about 2.1 additional turns.
Copy.
Sailing over the Atlantic Ocean, Randy Brusnick in the red stripes, Mark Van de Heide, no stripes at the end of the robotic arm on a work platform and articulating portable foot restraint, continuing work to bolt the new camera assembly in place on the Port 1 truss of the station. 2 hours, 14 minutes into today's spacewalk. The crew is running almost an hour ahead of the timeline.
4.6 on the torque in LED.
Checking. All right, those are good numbers. We're going to move on. And just to check with you, we don't need to recal the PGT in between.
I fat-fingered the PGT and flipped it off in the process of switching it from Bravo to Alpha. That's the only reason I did it again.
Gotcha, no problem. I've done that too. All right, next for the secondary bolt.
Ready for the secondary.
Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Okay, do I get the scoop back, values on the primary?
Yeah, and you can take the round scoop and transfer that to Comrade.
And then I think Comrade's done here, right?
Yeah, he's going to take the round scoop. He'll give us an inventory on the ETVCG bag, get the failed stowed, and then he is clear.
Let's remove the scoop sable. Let it pin back.
Copy. Hey, there's scoop coming your way.
And all the bolts have been driven into place. The new camera group is securely attached to the stanchion on the port 1 truss of the station. Next up will be the reinstallation of the high-definition camera onto this apparatus.
Okay, Bravo. The secondary bolt is Bravo 1.
Bravo 1, clockwise 2. And you're looking for the secondary bolt, forward bolt, 5 turns only.
5 turns only.
I'll do my inventory after you're done, Sable.
Say again?
Then I'll do my inventory after you're done driving that one.
Okay. Yeah, they're going to have to think about the turn count for the next torque setting anyway. All right, here we go. All right, that was 4.87 turns. The torque is 0. What do you, Comrade?
Checking.
Okay, for inventory, we've got a shower cap on a ret on the hook point internally. We also have a ret with a pit pin on a round scoop. Then have another ret running to the outside to the scoop that is on the tail. And I'll give you a call on the inventory on the rets and adjustables on the outside once I get it bundled.
Copy all, Comrade.
What do you, Sable?
All right, Sabo, next settings are Alpha 1, clockwise 2.
Alpha 1, clockwise, 2 is set. Turn to torque.
Affirmative. Minimum additional 2 turns for 7 turns total.
Copy. .06 turns, torque of 2.4. LED.
Copy 5.6, 2.4, green LED. Checking. That is a good config, so next we'll have you drive the aft secondary bolt. Settings are Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Bravo 1, clockwise 2, 5 turns.
Affirmative. Report turns, max running torque.
The International Space Station is approaching the coast of Portugal. Everything continuing to go very smoothly. This path for the station on this orbit will carry the complex and its occupants across northern Spain. the heart of France and most of Western Europe.
All right, Sabo, next settings are Alpha 1, clockwise 2, and minimum additional 2 turns for 7 turns total.
Copy. Alpha 1, clockwise 2.
Good read, minimum additional 2 turns.
Turn to torque. If I don't get it, I'll talk to you about it. Well, that was, I don't think that was making any progress. I got, gosh, I kind of lost 14 turns. I got a low torque reading, and it felt like the bolt was skipping as I was putting it in.
Okay, checking how many turns?
Okay, checking how many turns? I think that was 14 turns, but I don't think any of them actually caught a thread in the first 5.
Copy, we'll check on that. And Sabo, can you read us the torque that you've got so far?
The torque so far was really 0. I apologize. I got nothing because I turned the knob already.
No worries. Copy.
Okay, Sabo.
Again?
They got recorders. So, Bill, go back and look.
Roger.
Don't worry about it.
Yep.
And Sabo, can you check? I think you're doing that right now. Is that bolt still popped out?
Oh, yes, it's popped out. I can hand thread one thread probably, just to make sure it's not popped out, but it is popped out, yes. And when I was driving the bolt, it felt like it was skipping over the threads. It didn't feel like it was grabbing.
Okay, copy. Standby 1 on the hand threading.
I can also confirm I was turning it clockwise.
Copy, thanks. We'll discuss down here. And Comrade, for you, if you can hit your green light again, we don't have WBS right now.
I will. When I get a chance.
Mark Van de Heij continues to work to torque down a series of bolts that will firmly attach the new camera assembly to the Port 1 truss stanchion. Again, this view from Van de Heij's helmet camera as the International Space Station flies 252 miles over France.
5 turns again. I think my body position was such that I was side loading it and not getting really good turns on there.
Okay, copy, Sabo. We concur. We think make sure you get a good body position so that you can push that bolt fully in and engage it. And we're going to have you retry the aft secondary bolt. So those settings are Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Bravo 1, clockwise 2. 5 turns, correct?
Affirmative, 5 turns.
As you see, if you want, I re-pushed my green light. I now have it. The light was out when I went to go actuate it.
Copy, Comrade, and we've got WVS again. Thank you.
Okay, that time I got 5.6 turns, a torque of, yeah, 5.6 was the torque of 5 turns. But let me double check this. Let me just see if it still popped out. It still popped out.
Okay, copy. We're checking.
I can tell you it seemed to, after about a turn, it seemed to kind of tug, like it was starting to build up torque and then that torque released.
Okay, copy. It tugged and then the torque released. We're going to talk about it for just a minute. And we've got 30 seconds to 20-second handover.
You taking in refreshment, Sabo?
Again?
Have you been taking in refreshment?
Not as often as I should. Thanks for the heads up.
And I'm about to throw this beast on the BRT and head out. To your left. See the bay over there on the graph?
Van High encountering a bit of difficulty with one of the secondary bolts for the installation of this new camera assembly. Randy Bresnik will return the failed camera assembly to the airlock. 2 hours, 26 minutes into today's spacewalk, or we're handing over between satellites again on the tracking and data relay satellite system. Everything has been going very smoothly with today's spacewalk. Bresnik and Van High running well ahead of the timeline.
And Comrade, the last thing we need from you is the outside bag inventory, and then if you clear tools and tethers, you're go to leave the worksite.
EV1, I've got 2 adjustable tethers and 1 large small wreck.
Copy. 2 adjustables and 1 large small ret. Checking. Comrade, that's a good config on the bag inventory, so you can head back to pick up your green hook from the SETA cart and then down to the airlock.
EV1 copies, and I've loaded in BRT to load your U-bag. Reporting the pattern.
All right, excellent. And Sabo, for you, we're going to try one more on this secondary bolt. So we're going to have you hand start it 1/2 to 1 turn, and then we'll have you drive it again.
Okay. That's gonna work.
I'm glad you had that practice with the EDFs on EV1.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay, Kate, it seems to have grabbed. I'd say that was about 1/8 of a turn.
Okay, copy. And we will have you get the PGT again at Bravo 1, clockwise 2, and aim for 5 turns again.
Bravo 1, clockwise 2.
Good read back.
Looking for 5 turns. was 4.77 turns, 1 on the torque, and it felt like it was skipping, and the bolt is still popped out.
Okay, copy, checking. All right, Mark, thanks very much for the work on the aft bolt. We are actually good with 2 out of the 3 bolts installed, so we're just going to have you continue. So you can stow the PGT on the outside of the medium ORU bag. And next, we're going to continue with the camera so you can maneuver the SSRMS to the CP9 HDC position.
And so at the 2.5-hour mark into the spacewalk, victory has been declared despite the fact that one of the 2 secondary bolts for this new camera assembly on its stanchion failed to fully engage. All that's required was the primary bolt and one of the 2 secondary bolts, but no worries. That new camera group is firmly affixed to the stanchion. It will not float away. It's in good shape. So with that having been completed, Van de Heijn now will work for the installation of the high-definition camera on this camera assembly that was removed from the failed assembly a short time ago and temporarily stowed. It will be reinstalled on the new camera group over the next few minutes.
Very cool.
It's coming in motion.
Looking for motion. It's good motion.
Copy, good motion.
Mark, if you have bandwidth, you can work on removing the HD camera from the bag, and I've got a couple cautions and warnings for you.
After the GCA.
The GCA is done.
Hey, Mark, those are published. How does that look?
That looks good. Do you remember what I adjusted off the publish last time?
We didn't write that down. Sorry, buddy.
No problem. Okay. You can always tweak it if we need to.
Okay, you want to stand by here? Or you want to call that GCA complete?
Let's call that GCA complete.
Copy, and again, it's easy for us to get back into mode, so just let us know if we need to sweeten it up.
Will do. Okay, ready for those warnings. I'm working on the HD camera out.
So one more step required in this piece of the EVA. That will be the reinstallation of the high-definition camera on the newly installed camera group that was just affixed to a stanchion on the P1 truss of the station. This is the view from Mark Van de Heij's point of view, the failed unit that's being stowed in a crew lock bag that will be returned to the airlock by Randy Bresnik a short time from now. The International Space Station is currently flying over northwest Kazakhstan, moving from northwest to southeast at an altitude of 252 statute miles. Earlier today, much earlier today, down in Baikonur at the Cosmodrome, the ISS Progress 68 cargo craft was rolled out to its launch pad at Site 31, being prepared for liftoff on Thursday at 4:32 a.m. Central Time, 5:32 a.m. Eastern Time, on an expedited 2-orbit rendezvous in a test by the Russian Federal Space Agency to even further expedite the delivery of cargo and crew members to the International Space Station in the future. This 2-orbit rendezvous will cut in half the amount of time that a 4-orbit rendezvous currently is employed for, and will enable the Progress to reach the station just 3.5 hours between launch and docking. Again, our coverage on Thursday of the launch of the Progress 68 cargo craft, the unpiloted cargo craft, to the station, is scheduled to begin at 4:15 a.m. Central, 5:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Launch is scheduled at 4:32 a.m. Central, 5:32 a.m. Eastern Time. Our docking coverage 3 hours later will begin at 7:15 a.m. Central, 8:15 a.m. Eastern Time, with the automated docking by the Progress to the Piers docking compartment scheduled at 7:56 a.m. Central, 8:56 a.m. Eastern Time.
Motion.
Copy, good motion. That's what you asked for. You want more?
Stop motion.
Copy, stop motion.
We'll call that GCA complete.
Copy, GCA complete.
Okay. Okay, Kate, I slid that from nadir to zenith. The cam is flush. I just did a push test. That passed.
Excellent. So with your wrist mirror, you verified the camera lever is flush?
Yeah, actually, I'm not on either side. I'm at the scoop end. So I can see the markings. And I could see that it was flush on the far side.
Okay, we copy the marking is flush, and you verified the camera cam lever is flush also.
I verified that the camera cam lever is flush. What I'd like to do is rotate over, keep this tethered to the bag, rotate over to where I want to make the connectors. Make sure that at a different angle that the fast marking on the camera still looks flush.
Okay, copy. We're still going to have you remove the window cover assembly, and so make sure before you start GCAing that you can get that, and we would like you to take photos of that secondary bolt that was being difficult.
On photos of the secondary bolt. Okay. The only camera I have here is the GoPro, but I'll give you high quality video. And we
GoPro
can
sounds
get
great.
stills out of that, I'm sure.
And Comrade, we see you attach thermal cover open.
Roger.
So once you get the camera bag stowed in the airlock, Comrade, you'll be looking for crew lock bag number 1 there. The airlock, Comrade, you'll be looking for crew lock.
Crew lock bag number 3, Roger.
Thank you. I knew I was going to do that. You guys even told me.
Okay, Kate, I took the cover. I took the cover over off of the HD camera lens. I have the scoop attached just to make extra sure before I take that off.
Copy. Sounds good. You still have the scoop attached.
My next step is the GCA over to
Affirmative, GCA to the CP9 light position, and then just make sure that you could still remove the round scoop from the HD camera even if you GCA.
Absolutely. Thanks.
And Sabo, with the on-1, just want to make sure clear. Do you want us to take you to the CP9 light position, or is there something intermediate for you to verify something?
Let's go to the CP9 light position. That'll allow me to see the other visual I want to get.
Okay, copy. We'll put that to published, and just like before, it's going to be a three-part maneuver, and the first one will be a positive X, and if you're ready, we'll go ahead and put the arm in motion.
So, expect me to have you stop motion during the motion forward. I think that's where I'll have to get the scoop off after I double check.
Okay, the first thing we're going to do is go station forward about 80 centimeters, so if you want us to stop somewhere between, just let us know.
Will do. Motion?
In motion.
Okay, Kate, confirm the, let's call that GCA complete for a moment. Bill and Paulo? Comrade, you need to come? Nope. Okay, Kate, that aft marking on the HD camera is flush with the aft end of the standard depth camera.
Excellent, great work. So you can go ahead and remove this round scoop back to the HD camera medium ORU bag.
Okay, that's in the works, and Paulo and Joe, you can GCA the published. Yeah.
Okay, we copy that. And again, Mark, with the lighting being gone, we don't have any clearance views with you and the camera, so if you can keep that in mind, especially the ingress aid.
Copy, I got that clearance covered.
Okay, the arm's coming in motion, station forward.
Good motion.
Good motion. Okay, Mark, here comes the body yaw left.
Continue.
And Mark, you can work on getting that PGT stow back in the medium ORU bag. I think that's what you're doing.
Is that motion, Mark?
Good motion.
And Sabo, one warning for you if you're ready for it.
Ready.
After the PTU cable P4 is mated to the HV camera, maintain a 3-inch keep-out zone from the quartz aperture.
Copy. Thanks.
And Sabo, we still have about another 30 degrees to go.
Copy. Watching. Continue.
Okay, continuing. Marker comes in the Y, let us know. We'll go to publish unless you want to stop us sooner.
Go to published. Motion.
Copy, good motion.
Stop motion.
Copy motion.
GCA complete.
Copy, GCA complete.
All right, Sabo, you'll mate the cable to the HD camera, check FOD pins EMI band, and it's the PTU cable P4 to the HD camera J1 connector closer to you.
Okay, so first is the PTU cable to the HD camera, correct?
Affirmative. PTU cable P4 to the HD camera closer to you connector.
Okay, that makes sense. Then after that, I connect the camera right away. I mean the light. HD.
Light is going to be last.
Okay.
And Comrade, we see you working with the crew lock bag. If you could also just give us, when you get a chance, some safer handle checks and glove and hap inspection.
The safer handles were down once I closed the thermal cover. Gloves nominal, hat nominal. No change.
Excellent. So when you get this crew lock bag bundled, you're going to be headed to the port SETA cart.
Happy. For the PTU cable, the no FOD, no gun pins, getting my band. Connection is mated.
Excellent. Can you check bail over center?
Bail is over center.
All right, great. Next is going to be the HD camera to the light, and that's cable P1 to light J1.
Yeah, that's in work. That connection there's no FOD, no bent pins. VMI band.
Copy.
And the light is mated over center.
Copy. Excellent. Next, you can route both cables through the TA clamp on the HD camera.
The cables are in the TA clamp. The clamp closed.
Excellent. Really nice work. Next, you'll verify the window hood on the standard def camera hasn't moved, and if you need to, straighten the hood.
Window hood on the standard def camera has not moved.
All right. Really nice work there, Sabo. You can just check all your tethers and tools clear of the ETVCG, and then give us a go to power up the camera group.
I am completely clear of the camera, and your go to power up.
Copy, go. And next, you can give your arm operator a go for maneuver to CP9 back off position.
Oh, and Joe, your go for back off.
This is Mission Control Houston, 2 hours, 50 minutes into the spacewalk by Randy Bresnik and Mark Vandehei. The HD camera that was on the failed camera assembly on the P1 Trust Stanchion of the International Space Station, that HD camera was removed early on prior to the removal of the failed camera assembly. A new camera assembly was bolted into place on the stanchion, and the HD camera now has been reinstalled. And a short time from now, the flight control team here in Houston will power up this new camera group and perform a initial checkout of the pan and tilt capability of that unit before we receive visual confirmation that the new unit is up and running in good shape.
So, Joe, let's go 10 centimeters station zenith, 10 meters station, 10 centimeters station port.
Copy zenith and ports.
Good copy. With the zenith, that might be enough.
Okay, here comes the zenith, Mark.
Copy, starting GCA. Good motion.
We just gave you a pulse. You need more than that?
That's it. That's good enough.
You still want the port?
Negative. I don't now want the port. Thank you. That's GCA complete.
See, that one's complete.
Right. What I'm talking about, that is unlocked.
Copy, PTU unlocked. Excellent work. So now you're good for maneuver to the CP9 backoff position.
All right, Joe, before we start that comrade com,
Nothing left.
there's a thunderstorm below us right now. Okay, Joe, GCA, start to publish.
Okay, copy, that's in work. First thing again is going to be a station forward. Here it comes.
Copy. Motion.
Copy, good motion.
Joe Akaba now maneuvering the station's robotic arm from the robotic workstation inside the International Space Station to back Mark Vandehei away from the camera group installation worksite. Meanwhile, the flight control team here in Mission Control about to power up this newly installed camera group and perform an initial checkout of the pan and tilt capability of the newly installed unit.
Station port coming in.
Station port or station starboard?
Okay, we're going starboard, Mark. That was our mental gymnastics there.
Good. Wait.
How's that clearance going, port? Is that an issue for you?
Oh, there's 2 meters port before some.
Okay, yeah, we do need to go port. Just
As the two spacewalkers approach the 3-hour mark into today's spacewalk, Randy Bresnik is going to be tackling the next task, that being the replacement of a blurry lens cover on a camera light pan and tilt assembly on the mobile base system of the International Space Station on the rail of the station's truss. This lens cover will be removed. The camera view will be checked out by flight controllers here in Mission Control, and a different lens cover will be installed. The likelihood is that the existing lens cover has a smudge on it, so we want to make sure that we have a good acuity from that particular camera on the mobile base system of the International Space Station. In the meantime, Mark Vande Hei is being maneuvered back toward the P-1 truss, where he will get out of the portable foot restraint that he has been in for the better part of the past hour and a half or so, involved with the replacement of the camera group on the lower outboard area of the Port 1 truss. That camera group has been replaced with a new unit, the HD, or the high definition camera, that was on the failed camera assembly, has been reinstalled. It was the standard definition camera that was failing with a pink hue for the past couple of years, so that we have a new unit now installed, and its initial checkout is underway.
Well, I'm standing by. You mind if I check in with comrades?
You got it. We're plugging in numbers.
Okay, let's call that QCA complete for the moment.
Yep, you guys have to calm, and we'll take it back when we're ready.
Okay. Comrade, how goes it?
I am at the port seat cart. And what do you have left to do now?
I am just waiting for these guys. They're going to start the joint OCAS to get me back over to the APFR egress position. You're waiting for this MLI bag. You're waiting for this bag, aren't you?
Oh, no, I don't need it right now. I'm due to the mask cover and the whip adapter.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, I see you over there.
And Mark, we'll take a glove and a hap check from you when you get a chance.
Timely call. So, if you can see it, my left index finger, got the flap came up just like on the previous glove. Present, only held on by one end.
Copy, we see that. And is that about the same size as you had before, or do you think that flap's increased?
Look, honestly, this is like deja vu.
Yeah, it's that left pointy finger, huh? We can see it here.
And maybe there's a 2 millimeter crack in my right ring finger.
Copy, checking.
The RTV?
The RTV, yep. Call, comrade.
I'd say, but that's a good glove check, and we'll take a hap check from you.
Hap is dry.
Copy, thanks.
Mark Vande Hei providing a glove status, a bit of wear and tear on those gloves, but nothing significant. So we press ahead here, just seconds away from hitting the 3-hour mark into today's spacewalk.
And Sabo, again, our visibility, our clearance is very, very limited, so if you can keep an eye out for us on your end, that'd be great.
Okay, I can see the elbow, and I can see starboard and aft. Well,
Yeah, it sounds great, and we're just taking you back to where we started this whole thing. So if you're ready, arms coming in motion.
copy.
So far, so good with all of the work associated with today's spacewalk, the 204th in support of space station assembly and maintenance and history, the 4th spacewalk for Randy Bresnik, the 2nd for Mark Vande Hei. One of the two major objectives has been completed, that being the replacement of a failed camera assembly on the Port 1 truss of the International Space Station. That new camera group has been installed, bolted into place. An HD camera that had been on that old camera assembly was removed and reinstalled on the new assembly.
CLPA lens, optical surface of the CLPA.
Randy Brusnick also rotated a handle on one of the high-pressure gas tanks on the Quest airlock into the locked position, installed a worksite interface adapter on the new latching end effector that he and Van de Hei replaced in their first spacewalk 5 days ago. Also rotated about 90 degrees one of the spare pump flow control sub-assemblies that is housed on a spare parts depot on the Destiny Laboratory of the International Space Station for future work associated with an upcoming spacewalk to move that component to the P6 truss of the station.
Okay, we're looking for a WIS 7 for EV1, correct?
Affirmative. With 7, it'll be a clocking of 3. And I have a status update on the overall EVA and consumables for you guys if you'd like it.
Let's wait till Sable gets done with the airbox.
Sounds good.
We'll get after that.
Sable, are you ready for a GCA to the egress position?
Affirmative. You can take me back to the APFR ingress position. That would be appreciated.
Okay, that's what we're shooting for. It's going to be a station forward, and then we'll be doing a
It's okay. We'll take it once you get there.
okay, we'll get you to the publish.
Ingress aid is in.
And Mark, our first one is going to be going station Zenith.
Copy. Conrad, we're getting ready to GCA. Any comms requirements? Negative. Okay, Joe, start GCA.
Copy, motion's in.
Good motion.
Copy, good motion. Mark, here comes station aft.
I agree. For it. Motion.
Copy, good motion. And you got the clearance.
I have the clearance at the truss. And the arm itself.
A few more to go.
You?
Okay, Sable, that's our published. What do you need?
Works. Actually, yeah, that's fine.
Can give you what you want.
Let's go station Zenith 30 centimeters.
Copy, station Zenith is coming in. Here's your 30.
All right, stay complete.
Copy, GCA is complete. We're putting brakes on.
Copy. Kate, I'm going to start my swap back to my tether patch. Agree.
Copy, and let me know if you want me to walk you through those steps.
Actually, I'm gonna put my wave tether down as a safety tether, so the steps aren't exactly the same.
Okay, sounds great. Just check it locked on both ends.
Okay, the brakes are on. You have a go for egress.
Thank you.
EV1, pitch jump. PFR is in with 7, clocking of 3. At black on black, I got to go pull a wiggle test. I'm removing my ret. I've got the true lock bag number 3 on my BRT. I'm going to ret to it. I'm going to release it from the APFR.
All right, excellent. And the rest of your APFR settings are November, November, Lima 9.
Copy.
Okay, Joe and Paulo, I am egressed off the APFR. For me to do the tether swap, I think I might as well just take the arm to the APFR removal position.
Okay, copy that. Just give us a second.
All right, we're getting ready for GCA. Need to come?
You good? All yours. Thanks for checking.
While they're getting ready, you want to catch us up on the big picture?
Go ahead and finish up, Mark. I'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just about there. So we're going to be taking you, Mark, in a zenith position if you agree.
I agree. Motion.
Be good motion.
End effector's clear, arm is clear, PFR is clear.
Hey, Sable, how you like it?
I like it. GCA complete.
The GCA is complete. We're putting brakes on.
Let me know when the brakes are on, and I will call it a go to.
They're on, and you having to go for APFR removal.
Thank you. The sun's getting ready to come up.
Affirmative, you guys are almost in sunrise. Sabo, let me know when you get your tether pack reassembled, and then we'll have some more words for you about ingress aid and medium ORU bag.
Copy. I have my right waist tether on the cedar rail, large hook, gate closed and locked, small hook, gate closed and locked.
Copy, or go to reconfigure the safety tether pack.
Yellow hook is on the green reel. Yellow hook is closed and locked. I still have my green hook down. I'm going to call that complete with 8 tether hops for now.
Copy, and that looks like a good config. You can release your waist tether. Next, you're going to stow the ingress aid for the APFR against the boot plate.
That's complete.
All right, you can temp stow the medium ORU bag on the port seated cart and retrieve crew lock bag number 2 for the Lee lube. Stow that on your BRT.
Are you tracking that the APFR is still on the... Okay.
Sorry, say again, Sabo?
Are you tracking that the APFR is still on the arm?
Yeah, we have you first temp stowing the medium ORU bag and getting the crew lock bag, and then taking the APFR off the arm. But you can switch that up if you'd like to.
That works for me. Let's go. I'm doing it as written.
This is Mission Control Houston, 3 hours, 13 minutes into the spacewalk. Randy Bresnik is wrapping up work in the replacement of a lens cover on a camera on the mast of the mobile base system that rides along the rail of the truss of the International Space Station. While that's taking place, Mark Vande Hei is in the early stages of cleaning up from his previous work to install a new camera assembly on the Port 1 truss of the International Space Station in advance of beginning work to lubricate a central ball screw in the new latching end effector, the hand of the station's robotic arm that he and Randy Bresnik replaced during their first spacewalk 5 days ago.
Okay, EV1, are we in a good position for the status update now?
We are. So you guys are doing great. You're about 45 minutes ahead of the timeline. Our consumables are looking good. Your MEDOX is looking really good. About 7 hours for both of you. So excellent job. Keep up what you're doing.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thanks.
Hey, Sabo.
Yes, sir.
That really bright glow down there on the Earth?
The one that looks like a big flame?
That might be the direction of, I think, Houston.
I think you're right.
You remember that? They mentioned that. Kirk Shinerman, our station program manager, his birthday's tomorrow. And I think when safety heard how many candles were going to be on his cake, I think they mandated a birthday cake lighting practice today to make sure nobody got hurt tomorrow.
Must be what it is.
That's a good one, guys.
Kirk, from your on-orbit part of your International Space Station team, happy early birthday. EV1 is wedded to the LPA cover.
Copy. You'll rotate the locking latch lever to the open unlocked position.
Balance complete.
All right, and then you can use the handle, push the cover towards the latch, and tilt away from the lens to remove it.
That's complete.
All right, excellent. We're going to check down here if we need MCC imagery evaluation.
Copy.
And Comrade, we're going to check for another couple minutes here on the imagery evaluation, if you can stand by.
Stand by.
All right, Comrade, thanks for standing by for the imagery evaluation. We're ready for you to install the spare CLPA lens cover on the MBS.
Good work.
This lens cover, again, is on a camera. It's called a CLPA, or a camera light pan and tilt assembly. This is on the mobile base system, which is the rail car that rides up and down the rail on the truss of the International Space Station. The lens cover apparently has a smudge on it, so it's being replaced with a different lens cover by Randy Bresnik. That task should be completed in short order here. This view from Bresnik's helmet camera as the International Space Station flies 252 statute miles over the South Pacific.
All right, excellent. You can stow the failed in the MLI and then put that MLI in the crew lock bag number 3.
Houston, we doing?
We were out of comm for a second, Comrade.
All right, no worries.
They should be back.
And say again, Comrade?
The new lens cover's been installed. It is locked in position. It's going to get tug test.
Excellent. You can stow that failed in the MLI and stow that MLI in crew lock bag number 3.
Okay. So you got time for a question?
We do.
The first EVA, you say the yards. Second one, you say the ETVCG. What do you do for an encore?
I finished 6 months on the space station.
It's Joe.
It's Joe, yes.
And Sable, you'll be taking that APFR. Oh, sorry, you'll be taking that APFR to WIF 8, clocking 9.
That should work. All right, EV1, sequence on the APFR.
Copy. Comrade, your next is the WIF adapter removal, so you can translate to the Lee and the POA.
Okay, I've got the APFR in WIF 8, clocking of 9. Full twist test and black on black.
Excellent. The rest of your settings are Foxtrot, Foxtrot, Foxtrot 6.
Foxtrot, Foxtrot, Foxtrot 6. Copy.
Good readback.
And Kate, just while I'm here, EV1, I'm doing the Tango Tango, I'm sorry, the Tango Tango Fox 6.
And sorry, say again, Comrade, about Tango Tango Fox 6?
I'm just putting that in now while I'm here. Easy enough?
Okay, copy. Sounds good.
This is Mission Control Houston, approaching the 3.5-hour mark into the spacewalk today. Mark Vande Hei is on the left of your screen. EV2, extravehicular crew member number 2.
Working on the rest of the APFR settings. If you can confirm for us where crew lock bag number 2 is, we should have that on your BRT before you ingress the APFR.
Well, I apologize for not telling you about that. I have crew lock bag 2 stowed directly nadir of me.
Okay, great. You can just pick that up before you ingress the APFR.
Copy.
Mark Vande Hei is in the process of cleaning up from his previous work on the camera group replacement at the Port 1 truss.
That's affirmative.
He will reinstall his booted feet in the portable foot restraint at the end of the station's robotic arm to begin preparing for the lubrication of a central ball screw in the newly installed latching end effector that he and Randy Bresnik replaced during their first spacewalk 5 days ago.
Double check. Make sure that heads up. I am good for that. Back off.
We copy down here.
Apollo and Joe, did you hear that?
Copy. So you guys will go for the lead loop back off position. We just need to put in a short OCAS, so we'll get that in work.
Copy. All right, my friendly APFR is hitting me on the pitch setting. Oh, there we go.
Nice work getting that.
That required 2 hands.
Like last time, right?
Yeah. Well, this time I got movement in and out.
Those are all good notes, thanks.
Once Van de Heij begins the process of lubricating the new latching end effector at the end of the station's robotic arm, he will be applying 3 sets of brake coat grease through a grease gun to the central ball screw right down the barrel of the hand, if you will, or the latching end effector at the end of the station's robotic arm. The plan currently calls for additional lubrication of that component by Joe Acaba during the 3rd spacewalk scheduled for October 18th. That would involve lubrication of latch ball screws and linear bearings in the new latching end effector.
Looks good. Those are good settings. So next you can retrieve your crew lock bag, put that on your BRT, and then we'll have you ingress the APFR.